Good evening. Tonight we're going to do beef stroganoff, and this particular recipe I have never made before, but it looked just so delicious, and I already thought while I was going through it how I could change it just a little bit, and I already know I think I can make it better. Part of the problem is the person who originally did this said there was just barely enough gravy to cover the noodles and the meat. I know my family, they like the sauce. So I think I'm going to have to increase the sauce size. And my only problem there is I only have so much beef broth. But what I did was I cut off the fat of the meat I was preparing, and I rendered it in water and put a beef bouillon in there. And it's been cooked, and so we have just a real nice beefy flavor here that when it calls for 2 cups of broth, you can see it's one of my pet peeves. When you buy broth by the can, that's 15 ounces when 2 cups is 16 ounces. So you're always a quarter cup shy. So, and right here, right out of the can, nothing special. So I made some extra beef broth, and I'm going to bring it up to the 2 cups that they want. But you see I have extra. I have extra in case it does look like it needs more broth. I've got a little bit of sauce here yet to play with and give it some more sauce. Okay, we're going to start with a deep pan, and that's just a little bit of olive oil I'm putting in there. Now I want this olive oil to be get really hot. I don't want it to smoke and burn and scorch. But right before or just as soon after it starts to smoke, I'll be ready to put in this meat. Now our meat here is about a pound of a chuck roast. This isn't chuck roast. I happen to have a steak, and I cut it up and sliced it up. That's okay, but it does originally call for a beef chuck. But when I put this in, I want it to go right there and start searing it all, because we're only going to put it on there for a couple of minutes. So we want it good and hot, and it is heating up as we speak. Okay, it's just starting to get a little smoke on the top, so we're ready to put our meat in. Oh, yeah, you can hear that sizzle. And yes, that is my telephone going off. Whoever it is, I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of doing some work. Now I'm going to continually keep this going. We're just kind of searing the outside nice and quickly. No, they will not be fully cooked yet, but they will get, obviously. Okay. These have been going for 5, 6, 7 minutes. Not completely cooked, but they're pretty much all browned on all sides. And so for now, we're just going to stick them right back into this pan, and we'll bring it back just a little bit later. And there we go. To this, we're going to add some butter, some onions, and some, these happen to be portobello slices, any mushroom that you like. These were on sale and they look good and fresh. They were already pre-sliced. So now I'm just going to cook them here until the onions get translucent. We don't want to take them to caramelization, which is a step after that. Just a little limp and translucent. You notice there's hardly any liquid here. Well, there'll be a little more liquid when the mushrooms start to cook. There's a lot of water in mushrooms, and we're going to sweat that out, and that'll make up another layer of flavors in the broth. Okay, they're all rendering down nicely. We're going to start out this next with we have our 2 cups. We just wanted to start with one of those 2 cups. A little more. There's about 2 cups. Go in there. We're going to deglaze the bottom of the pan. All those good little bits of pieces that stuck are not going to be wasted. We're going to add a little garlic to this. Here's my spoon. A little garlic to it. White wine. And all-purpose flour. This will be our thickening agent. Mix that up good. Make sure that the flour is not lumpy. It's all going to dissolve in there. You should start to see it thicken up here a little bit. Okay, I can see it's not thickening up as much as I'd like to, so I'm going to give some more flour, and I'm going to put in some more sauce here, because I really do think my family would like a little more sauce to go over the egg noodles. Buttered egg noodles is what we're putting it over. I know, surprise, it's not rice. And it's going to be a nice change, and we'll be making them in just a bit. We're going to let this go back to a boil. Make sure that it's not too lumpy. You have to get a little whisk out there. Okay, now it's thickening up nicely. I'm going to put my meat back in. Give it a good stir. I'm going to put the last of the broth in. So in all, instead of 2 cups of broth, we probably did 3 cups of broth for the broth family I have. Let this come up to a boil, and then we're going to take it down to a simmer, and it's going to simmer for an hour. Right now we need to get it up to boiling speed, and we'll do a little salt and pepper. It needs some salt. Okay, we're going to check on our our meat here that's just simmering. After an hour, this meat is going to be so tender. Here we go, of course, the onions and the mushrooms. This is going to be so good. It's coming along just fine. Let's check and see. Oh yeah. It's got the right consistency. It is definitely fully incorporated. Here we go, and oh, it's getting tender and the right consistency. You got about 15 minutes left on this, which means it's time to start our noodles. Okay, we have about 4 cups of salted, rapidly boiling water. We're going to put our egg noodles in. You can use any kind of noodles really, but traditionally they're egg noodles, these wide ones, and that is going to need to cook for about 10 minutes to be soft, so it's going to come out just at the right time as our topping. We'll be able to eat soon. Okay, the noodles are done. I'm going to drain them into a colander here. Right now I'm going to put them into this bowl. Good. Okay, on the East Coast, at least in New England, at certain restaurants you might have a side of buttered noodles. And that's what we have. It's just noodles. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of butter to those noodles. And what they would do is just serve it like that with some salt and pepper over it. Now sometimes they would put Parmesan cheese on top of it. There's other things you can put on top of it, but for the most part it's really just buttered noodles. What I'm going to do to change this around is the buttered noodles are going to be our foundation. With our stroganoff on top, and I'll finish it off with a little Parmesan. Okay, let's take our noodles. We're one step from finishing over here. Okay. There. Because the one thing we have to do here is we've got some sour cream. Now, if you live in a larger city that has access to this, it really would be better with Creme Fraiche. But if you live in a small town, don't have Creme Fraiche available, sour cream is going to do just fine. And these are chopped up chives. They go in just at the very, very end here. I'm going to stir this up and incorporate it because we are almost ready to plate. One last, the butter's all incorporated in here. I do want to give it a little salt here. We'll let people add pepper as needed, but this pasta needs a little salt. If you need more, that's fine. And there we go. We're ready to put this all together.